Hey guys, what's going on? This is the conservative speaking. Amazing. Happy Father's Day for all the fathers out there yesterday. And today, I want to talk to you about this incident that happened uh, yesterday at 9:59 p.m. according to the Washington Examiner. Before I get into this story, obviously, I want to wish all the fathers a happy Father's Day. Yesterday, um, they, there were two events that were celebrated yesterday. One of them, which is really the most prevalent one, was Father's Day. Um, and as important as we know Father's Day is, because we know that patriarchy is what kept the Western civilization stable, as well as civilization all throughout the world, and should have been really the main holiday that should have been celebrated. There was also another holiday that was celebrated, and that was Juneteenth. And um, even though Juneteenth is not necessarily acknowledged uh, for most people, Juneteenth is a holiday that is more prevalent towards the blacks. And Juneteenth is a holiday that is supposed to celebrate black freedom along with black unity and black pride and this black liberation theology nonsense that the blacks tend to hang on to use as their battle cry to try to paint themselves as the victims. However, I am here to tell you why this this so-called Juneteenth holiday, which was signed into law last year by the great white dope Joe Biden, is a holiday that should be abolished. Because while the blacks will want to make you believe that Juneteenth is a holiday that celebrates black freedom and that acknowledges black pride, it clearly does not acknowledge nor does it improve morality and character among the blacks. And this is why. So, according to the Washington Examiner, DC police officer among multiple people shot at a Juneteenth event. That's right, one of those black liberation events. You know, the same event that is supposed to show black unity and black pride. It's also the same event that was seen in the same event where black people were shooting other black people. Amazing. So let's go through this event. So multiple people, including a DC Metropolitan Police officer, had been shot at a Juneteenth. I guess she meant to write Juneteenth event around the 14th Street corridor. Authorities confirm. The Washington D.C. Metropolitan Police Department said in a tweet Sunday evening that law enforcement was responding to an area of 14th and U Street Northwest for a shooting incident in which multiple people have been shot. Now, I want you guys to understand one thing. Whenever they state that multiple people were shot, and the races and the race of the very people who were shot are never identified, just take into consideration that those victims were blacks. And of course, they don't want to state that it was black folks because the media is now, well, unless the media is conservative, they are not allowed to reveal the identities of the very victims or the perpetrators that were involved in shootings that we know involve the blacks, because we all know that the blacks are the most violent people in America. For the most part, not all, but most blacks are violent. They either have the ability to perpetrate violence. They either have the ability to perpetuate violence, or they have the mindset of protecting those very black animals who want to perpetuate violence. Amazing. So, 21-year-old arrested after DC March for Our Lives scare. The department did not provide any details of the condition of those struck by bullets in the popular DC neighborhood. The DC Police Union confirmed news of an officer being shot, tweeting that the member has been transported to the hospital and is in stable condition. Attendees of the Juneteenth event called Mochella began posting on social media in the early evening hours after being caught in a stampede, with scores of Twitter users alleging that they had been trampled. Shortly after, videos on social media showed the packed cross street erupt in chaos after bullets can be heard. Amazing. So, this is the story, and this is one of the reasons why this holiday should be abolished. All right? I promise you, when I become the president of the United States, and with a majority controlled House and Senate that are controlled by real Republicans and not the rhinos who have the Republican in namesake only, we will overturn the Juneteenth holiday, because the blacks need to understand that Juneteenth is not going to help them become better people. Juneteenth is just as irrelevant as Black History Month. While you can acknowledge Black History Month, which by the way is irrelevant, considering that any black contributions that were committed in this country is a part of American history. While Black History Month also is something that does not help the blacks, because while it may make black people feel good, just like how Juneteenth is supposed to make black people feel good, it doesn't help them do good. It may make them feel good, but it won't help them do good. And that is something that you will see me highlight in a book that I plan to write that will be called I Can Fix Black People. Because the reason why this doesn't help, the reason why giving the blacks Juneteenth and Black History Month does not help the blacks, is because all it does is make the blacks paint themselves as victims, as opposed to making them hold themselves accountable for their very own actions. And while the Democratic Party plantation likes to keep the blacks mentally enslaved and make them believe that their very, very own troubles and their very, very own trials and tribulations and adversaries, which supposedly is supposed to be, which are supposed to be the white supremacists, while the Democratic Party plantation wants to make the blacks believe that the reason why they are suffering in America is due to systemic racism and white supremacy and racism. They're trying to paint this idea and keep them enslaved because they do not want the blacks to do the very thing that makes them American in the first place, and that is to make them believe that they are independent. That's the last thing that the Democratic Party wants the blacks to believe, that they are independent citizens in a free country. I mean, think about it. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all people, for all. It doesn't say for some, it doesn't say for most, it says for all people, for all Americans. The problem with the blacks is that they have disassociated themselves from being Americans. Not all, but most blacks believe that being black is more important than being American. And being proud to be American and being a patriot and wanting to do what they can to help their country as opposed to trying to help themselves. And this is the reason why, as long as the blacks have this type of slavery mentality, that they will continue to suffer and that they will continue to be enslaved, and they will continue to be ruled by the very, very people who claim to want to have their best interest at hand, when truth be told, they want to continue to keep them enslaved in the Democratic Party plantation. And as long as the blacks believe that, as long as the blacks want to stay on that plantation, the blacks will never be free. That's the reason why we need to get rid of these very enslaved holidays and this enslaved mentality by getting rid of these enslaved holidays like Juneteenth and Black History Month. Because what these holidays do is it doesn't what it does is that it makes black people feel good, but it doesn't reflect on the things that black people need to do in order for them to be better citizens. You notice that the Juneteenth holiday, and the reason why it even came about is because some blacks in Galveston, Texas, realized 2 years later that they were no longer slaves after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1865. But what does Juneteenth really state? Like what does it represent? Black freedom. The blacks have been free for almost 200 years, and yet they still keep haunching back on slavery, in which, truth be told, all races have experienced slavery, including white people. And the truth of the matter is that it was the blacks in Africa who started the slave trade that occurred all throughout the world. The blacks did it. And that's the reason why we need to start bringing in the truth. Okay? That's the reason why we need to start bringing in what is considered the truth in America. All right? It was the United States of America that got rid of slavery. While there are still slavery happening in Africa, the United States of America was the ones to get rid of it. But this whole black liberation theology nonsense is ridiculous, considering that it was the blacks who started slavery in the first place. And yet the blacks still try to harpoon on white people and trying to blame white people for slavery, when, truth be told, everybody had an opportunity to be a slave owner, including black slaves who turned out to be slave owners, like Anthony Johnson. And you can actually watch more about him in my in my original video of the Conservatives' Point of View, Black History Month, where I made a piece on Anthony Johnson. So I would like for you guys to take a look at that. But starting now, I believe that I should be the one to start the movement of repudiating Juneteenth. Because as you can see, Juneteenth has created more violence than peace in America. Just like how they did last year when multiple people were shot and multiple people were killed on Juneteenth. Amazing stuff, isn't it? But let me know what you guys think about the matter. Leave a comment in the comment section after you subscribe to my channel. Click the like button if you like this video. Share this video. If you believe this is important information, then you need to do your part and share the video. And subscribe to my channel, as I'll be able to provide you content on the double. Also, when you subscribe to my channel, click on the notification button so that you will be notified when new content from my channel is available. And with that being said, this is The Conservative, and I'm signing out. Have a blessed day, guys. And in a couple weeks, I am so looking forward to White History Month, as that is really the true prevalent holiday that we should all celebrate. Because July just feels white. Also, the month of July was our independence from Britain. And America was colonized and was founded by great white men that gave an opportunity for all races to have the opportunity to experience life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Amazing.